Hi, this is Jerry3904 from the MX Linux forum, and I'm here to do a short video on a replacement Runbox for MX Fluxbox, but also XFCE and OpenBox. This demonstration will be on an OpenBox respin that I'm working on, just because it's kind of interesting and you can figure out the rest by your normal. So here's what the current Fluxbox Runbox looks like. It's about 20 years old. It looks like it's 20 years old. It doesn't do very much, and the style is pretty simple and governed by whatever Fluxbox style you happen to be running. What we're going to substitute it with is this Rofi box. Rofi is that program we already use. This Rofi box, which is really all sorts of nice, good things. It's themable because it's in Rofi, and it can, as the bottom line shows you, you can run it, what you write, you can run in a terminal with Shift-Enter. So now you might be wondering, well, how can I get this? Eventually, it'll be available when MX Rofi Manager is released in about 2 weeks. But in the meantime, a post called Upgraded Runbox. And in that, as you can see, in that, I've told you how to get it in the meantime. Part of it is you go to get the theme. A theme is called MX-run.rasi, and you can get that from my repo there, and this is the components, and you'll see MX-run.rasi is down here, and you can click on that and then download it in the raw form. And the other thing that you'll need is this command. Now this command is for MX Fluxbox, but you can use it in MX OpenBox as well. Okay, now we know what this upgraded Runbox is, and we know how we can get it. We now want to just ask ourselves, why in the world would I ever want to do that? And there are two kinds of answers. One is because it is very nice and themable. It's a theme that's independent of your window treatment. In Fluxbox, it's independent of the window style that you may have chosen. You can see that my menu, for instance, is not in a recognizable style that has anything to do with our new Runbox. I'll put it up there. And that you may, for instance, on this wallpaper, just as an example, I'm not going to do more than one, but you can play around. You may say to yourself, well, that's very good looking, that nice bright blue. That's actually the comfort blue, the way we set that up for the default MX Rofi theme. But I'd like it, but it doesn't really go with this wallpaper, that big yellow blob down there. So I'd really like to change that to kind of make it fit better. So what we would do is we're just going to eventually you can just use Rofi Manager. In 2 weeks you can use Rofi Manager to change it, but that's not out yet. So I'll show you the other way, which is actually pretty useful because it's using a text editor and it's really pretty straightforward. So here's tunar config, there's Rofi, go into our themes, here's our theme, MX-run.rasi. Bring this to the center, and you can see it's not enormously difficult, but it might not be familiar. But if you look at the very top, which is where these things are defined, you'll see there's a little set of colors that are defined for the whole thing. One's called background color, one's called border color, one's called text color, and one sets the font. Now let's see which one of those would deal with that blue bar. I'm going to guess that it's the border color. Because it's not the background color. So these are hex codes, and you could go to a web browser and put in hex, H-E-X, hex code yellow, for instance, and find the exact hex code that you want. Sometimes I do that when I really care a lot. Or you can take out the hex code, leave that semicolon there, take out the hex code, and then just use a natural language word. I would call that gold. So I'm going to put in gold here. So now instead of using a fancy term, very, very precise, I'm going to use gold and see if that's going to work. So I'll save it, Control S, I'll save it, I'll take it out of my face here, and let's see what happens. Ta-da! Look at that. Isn't that nice? Actually, that color really matches well that yellow in the on the wallpaper. And the second thing is, as you see below, down at the bottom line there, it says Run in Terminal Shift plus Enter. And that means that there are commands that exist that you can't normally write. If this were the regular Fluxbox Runbox FB Run, if we wanted to find out, for instance, how much free space we had, we'd use that free command, and if I hit return, we get nothing. We also get nothing here. But if I do it again, and this time I go free, and I won't bother putting anything else in, I go shift return, now I get a terminal popping up telling me what the proportion of my what the available space in various forms on my hard disk. Very nice, and that's very handy. That idea of using Shift Enter and the code for it, we revised it, but it originally came from, I found it in the Arch Wiki on Rofi. Someone had put that in there as a suggestion, so we made it work. Had some help from developer Felix, and it works fine now. So there you go. Play around with it if you like. It's just a side thing, but it's a lot of fun.